exploring, we need to determine the correct working end of the instrument. We've already learned the terminal shank in class, and what we want to do is take the terminal shank and line it up parallel to the distal of the premolar so that the terminal shank is parallel to the long axis of the tooth, or the long line of the tooth. When we have it like that, we're high up on our fulcrum, which is very important. You'll note that the handle is coming out of the mouth nicely. If we were to try the other end of the instrument and find the terminal shank and try to put it at the distal, you can see not only is it very hard to get there, but the handle would be coming out through the maxillary sinus, so we know that that does not work. So once we know that we have the correct working end of the instrument by the terminal shank, we want to go to where we're going to start, which for today, we're going to demonstrate on 30, facial, which is sexton sixth. We're going to start at our get ready zone, fulcruming about 2 teeth away, up high on the fulcrum. We're always going to adapt about 1 to 2 millimeters of the tip to the tooth, not less than that because you'll be too toe on, you could scratch, and not more than that because you could have the tip, when it's subgingival, going into the tissue. So it's very important to always have the 1 to 2 millimeters adapted as you instrument. Place at the get ready zone at the distal line angle and float the explorer subgingivally, rocking and using a feather-like stroke to feel subgingivally the surface of the root. Once you get interproximally, which is halfway between the buccal and the lingual, you want to drop your toe down, drop the heel down a little bit, turn your toe inwards, and feel right under that contact, because we know that's where the calculus gathers, is right under that contact. You want to come back out, roll the instrument in your fingers back to the distal line angle, making sure that you have about 1 to 2 millimeters adapted, high up on your fulcrum, and start your way down the buccal wall. Light, short, overlapping strokes, rolling the instrument in your hands as you go into the mesial. If you notice, when we get to the mesial, the terminal shank is again parallel to the long axis of the teeth. Once you get to the interproximal, you want to tip your toe upwards, turn in a little, and feel right underneath that contact. And then slide back out. On the premolars, we're going to divide the tooth in half like we did with probing. Again, you would start distally, so you'd face your toe distally. Start at what would be the get ready zone, high up on the fulcrum, and float the 1 to 2 millimeter tip subgingivally, rolling as you go around the distal till you get to the contact. And you'll tip the heel back, turn, and feel underneath that contact. And then slide back out. Roll the instrument between your fingers back to the middle at the get ready zone. Float in. And make it light, small, overlapping strokes till you get to the interproximal. Turn in a little bit and feel under that contact. And then float back out. Correct working end for the sexton 6, the same working end will also do the lingual of sexton 4. There again is where those shaded areas, when we learned at the very beginning, when you sit at 9 o'clock, you can not only do the buccal of sexton 6, but you can do the lingual of sexton 4 with the same working end of that instrument. So here we are. We're going to work on tooth number 18 because 19 is missing. We're going to start at the get ready zone, high up on the fulcrum, 1 to 2 millimeter adapted. I'm going to float subgingivally into the distal, rolling around the distal till you get interproximally. And if you note, when we're interproximal, that terminal shank is parallel to the long axis of the tooth. Now that we're interproximal, we'll tip our heel back, which tips the toe up, turn in a little, and feel under that contact. And going to slide back out, roll to the get ready zone, and float subgingially along the lingual, turning at the mesial line angle, rolling the handle. And here we don't have contact spots, we'll just finish at the mesial. I'm going to do one more. Terminal shank is, we line it up to the distal of the premolar so that the terminal shank is parallel to the long axis of the teeth. When we hold it this way, we need to fulcrum about 1 to 2 teeth ahead, high up on the fulcrum. The handle should come out of the mouth nicely. If we try it the other way, utilizing the same fulcrum, you can't really get your hand to do that, number one. But number two, the handle will be going down somewhere into the throat, so we know that's not the correct end. Once we've determined the correct end, we're going to fly in and land. And we're going to land at the get ready zone in the direction in which we're moving. And we'll kind of got a little palm up going on. We're going to use the 1 to 2 millimeter tip, and we're going to float subgingivally. Floating, rolling into proximally. Then we're going to float back out. Roll the instrument between our fingers. Start at the get ready zone. Float subgingivally. Small overlapping strokes. We get to the mesial line angle, rolling into proximally and feeling all the way in. Turn and feel into that contact.